Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to our 4Acre Realty podcast. Today I have an awesome guest with us. He's not a real estate professional, so to speak, but he has helped me a lot in my real estate journey here recently. This is Fred Smalls.
Hi everybody, how you doing? Brian, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate you coming out today. I know you're an extremely busy guy. I got a text from Fred and met him at 8 o'clock at night, I think 2 weeks ago, and you were still working and
yeah.
people running in and out of your office and all kinds of stuff. So
it's like you doing the busiest time of your year, you know? It's like someone wants to see a house, you're not going to tell them no. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is this a busy time for you? People get ready for the summer and stuff?
Typically in the industry, summer is very slow, but we've been blessed because, you know, I do a lot of athletes as well. That are doing shows, bodybuilding shows, and then you know, the dance season starting, and so I have some professional dancers that I work with.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's been year round. We're busy. We've been blessed that way. So we've been doing business since 1997. So I'm dating myself. Were you even born? 1997?
91.
91. Yeah. So you were running around at 6 years old, and that's when I started my business. But yeah, so we stay really busy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know, it was funny to me, like, you know, our mutual friend Earl, he introduced me to you, and I remember the first thing you asked me was, what's your why, right? And it was crazy to me because that's the same thing I always ask every agent that joins. And the more we kept meeting, it was like there's so many similarities between what you're doing as far as, you know, running your team and, you know, how you're leveraging out your teammates, building your business, you know, the struggles and stuff like that you've had. So, you know, my goal is always to figure out, you know, what you do that's different that maybe somebody can take away from here. So
yeah,
we're not going to change anybody's life, but if we can give them one or two good little hacks that they can take with them, then...
well, the reason why I asked what's the why is because, like to use you, for example, your why was very strong. You knew exactly what it was, and you reached it pretty quickly. Like you know, you had a goal, and because you were so focused on why you were doing it, the challenges didn't matter. You know, obviously being in real estate, you have to entertain some people, networking opportunities, and they typically involve food a lot of the times.
Right.
And you know, you have a restaurant too. So with all of that, you know, you're always tempted by food. So if you didn't have a very strong why, we might do this for 4 years and not get anywhere. Right, but you were so focused on what your goal was, and that's everything with anything you're doing. It's no different than an agent that joins your agency. If they don't have a strong why on why they're getting up every morning, the person who's trying to do it because they got to eat, they got to survive, is going to have a lot more drive than the guy who's living with his parents. And you know, if he makes a sale, doesn't make a sale, doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's some similarities in that way with life.
Yeah.
You know, with life, like if you know you want to do anything, if you're not giving 100% towards it, it's probably not going to happen for a very long time until one day you wake up, you get sick and tired of not hitting your goal, and then you just 100% jump in, and then all of a sudden you're hitting your goal.
Yeah, for sure. And then, all right, so I want to dig into that later about finding the why and stuff. But first, just to kind of give everybody a background on you. So your main, well, why don't you just tell us what your business is, you know, your accomplishments and stuff like that so far?
Yeah. Well, I helped Earl, the person that referred you to me, years ago. I've been training bodybuilders and coaching since 1997. I turned pro in the International Federation of Bodybuilding in 2010. Competed at a very high level, did Mr. Olympia, the Arnold Classics, won some pro shows, all the way until this past year when I did the Masters Olympia and took top 5 there. And that has led to me, I say all that to say, being on the highest levels just gave me a broader range to reach out to. You know, I've been able to help people all over the world, have online clients from all different countries, and taken that, and I created a team of trainers anywhere between, you know, sometimes we have 8, sometimes we have 12, but a team of trainers that we train now over at Diamond State Iron, and then we translated that into opening a cryotherapy business called CrossFit Cryo, and we're currently getting ready to do an IV business too. So everything's around fitness to improve the body inside and outside. And what I also try and instill in my clients is the mindset part of it, because a lot of us have such a limited mindset. We fear what we don't know, which limits us.
Right.
And everyone has unlimited potential if they're just willing to get uncomfortable and love being comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Right.
So that's what we kind of preach and teach, and through the workouts that are tough but rewarding.
Yeah.
You feel completely empowered when you come through my program if you do everything I tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, and you guys are just so smart. Like, it was hard for me to understand. I think a lot of people want to know, like, for me, I would be willing to try really hard, but I was just aimlessly going in the wrong directions. Like, all I was doing was cardio, and I was just starving myself. Well, now, you would probably be screaming at me if I was saying that, because
well, okay, so the problem is everyone, not everyone, a lot of people, when they start on this course of trying to lose body fat, they're not thinking of in terms of how do I keep it off forever. But my program is set up to make sure that we can stay lean forever by not always having to do foods you necessarily love, but some foods that you neither like or dislike. Foods that are going to maintain a consistent blood sugar level so that you don't have highs and lows, and everybody out there knows during the day you've woken up, had energy, and midday you're falling short of your energy. So you eat something, you have a little bit more energy. If you've eaten the wrong thing, you have less energy. You get a little energy, and then it even drops lower, right? And then you're forced to do something else with caffeine or some sugar in it, and you're on that bad cycle. But we try and teach you just how to eat properly, so your energy levels are never too high, never too low. They're always very consistent. By doing that, you're consistently in a as long as your calories aren't too high, you're consistently burning body fat, which means it's easier to stay leaner, even if you're not following a menu plan. And then we talk about exercise, and cardio is great for the heart, great to give you a metabolic boost while you're doing it. But the problem is when you're not doing it, your metabolism isn't elevated. And that's why we preach on lifting so hard, because with lifting weights, you're now elevating your resting metabolism to levels that were non-existent before. So
right.
you could end up, just by adding 10 pounds of muscle tissue, keep off a pound of fat that by doing nothing extra to your diet.
Right.
Just by having more muscle tissue. So it doesn't mean you're going to look bulky. It just means you're going to improve your shape.
So yeah, and to like completely dumb it down, you're saying, for me, the way I understood it was like building the muscle makes it so that while you're resting, you're burning more, right?
Yes, yeah. So we don't spend the majority of our time exercising. Most people spend the majority of time in a rested state.
Right.
Whether it's sitting down, working at a computer, watching TV, watching a child, one of the kids' events or something, you're in a rested state. So if you can elevate the metabolism in that state, that's the trick to staying lean forever.
Now you're doing it while you're sleeping.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Like that residual income you're trying to get.
Right. Exactly.
You're sleeping.
But I know you said I don't have to do cardio anymore, so that's good.
Definitely didn't say that. Do your cardio. It's good for the
heart. Cool. So real quick, just on the background side of it, and then people listening, I'm going to go into some more about like the discipline and all that. But what made you get started into bodybuilding? And then, a lot of people do that and then they don't take it as far as you did. So did you have a big why? Do you have any reasons you think that what pushed you that hard?
When I was 13, my mom caught me in the mirror crying because I didn't like how overweight I was. And in sixth grade I was like 160 something pounds. So I was going into high school, I was 180 pounds at 5 foot. So I was a big boy. So she didn't say anything to me. The next day she just signed me up with a personal trainer. And so obviously it worked. By the time I was a sophomore in high school, I was really lean, had started having muscles already, and it made me better for my sports.
Right.
So when I obviously I found a lot of value in that, and it made a difference because a lot of the kids I was working out with in high school were getting injured, hurting themselves, stuff like that. I had a trainer, so I understood that how to train, what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing. Fast forward to college, I actually went to college and graduated with a financial management degree. So my whole life I was groomed to take over my dad's company, which he does real estate and insurance. However, I fell in love with the gym, and I fell in love with the fact that how much of a difference I can make for people when they saw themselves change, right? How much self-confidence it brought them, you know. And when I was able to see that, it just gave me more excitement about doing my job. So I constantly say to my kids all the time, I don't ever work, I just play in the gym all day, because it's like solving puzzles and getting the most out of people. It's the most selfishly gratifying thing you can do,
Right.
you know. And but you know, then as far as bodybuilding, you know, I was also a world champion powerlifter in college. But when you're not doing it with a team, in college I was on a team. We went to NCAAs, and I was one of the only kids in Division III history to win the NCAAs. So when we get out of college and I'm trying to do it by myself, it's not fun.
Right.
So that's what kind of pushed me into bodybuilding. And if I go backwards a little bit, when in 1993, the year I graduated high school, I saw a gentleman by the name of Flex Wheeler, and I was like, I want to look like that. I definitely want to look like that. And so, you know, I did some shows while I was in college and did pretty well. But then I just gave up powerlifting, and I'm going to go 100% into bodybuilding. And I did a couple shows at the national level and did well. And then in 2000, I bought a gym, and a Gold's Gym on Kirkwood Highway, and I had that for 8 years. Trying to compete when I had that gym was pretty rough. Pretty rough.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah, so because I was a trainer, I wasn't a businessman yet.
Right.
Right, so, you know, I remember it was funny because somebody called about a membership, and I was doing legs, and my front desk person says, they really want to talk to you, they're interested in getting membership. And I was doing legs, I was like, tell them I'll call them back when I'm done doing legs. Like, that's a business no-no number one.
Right.
Like, when the prospect is hot, talk to them, right?
Right.
But, you know, again, I was used to handling one-on-ones. I didn't understand how to handle the masses. So, you know, I did pretty bad. And when we finally got the gym on track was about 4 years after opening. You know, thank God my father helped me out to keep it going. And so I kind of got to learn on the way.
Right.
But by the time we got the thing turned around, I couldn't negotiate the lease the way I wanted to. And then I merged with a gym called the Training Center. And when I merged with them, that's when I was able to say, okay, well, I don't have this how to be in a gym owner anymore. I gave them all the memberships that I had in the gym, and I took over exclusive rights to the training and nutrition and supplements and the rehabs to the chiropractor next door, which allowed me to say, okay, I can do this bodybuilding thing again. And I went 100% into the bodybuilding. I gave myself 4 years, and that's where the why came in. I said, if I don't do it in the next 4 years, I'm done.
Right.
And I was able to accomplish it. And then from there, it was like, you know, I accomplished everything I wanted to do in bodybuilding. So not to go off on a tangent, but what all your listeners should understand is don't underestimate your goals. That's another big one. Whatever your goal is, number-wise, is selling houses or whatever, increase it by 10%, 20%, because I set on my goals and actually achieved them. Had I set my goals bigger, I have no doubt I would have achieved them. But I didn't set them like to set the world on fire. I set them to do things that no one else from Delaware had done.
Right.
And the problem is I accomplished them all.
Right.
And I don't, for me, it was harder to reestablish the goals once I was already eating. See, when you're hungry and you set goals, it's easy to strive for them because you have it set from the beginning.
Right.
And if you set those goals, if you don't hit them, you always feel like, okay, I can do more, I can do more, I can do more. But when you hit a goal,
right,
that's how you end up in this state of hovering,
right,
complacency.
Yeah.
Right? Like I was, I remember I was in Japan guest posing for the military, and I had the Olympia coming up, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, having this one bite is not going to hurt me. But it was because my goal was to qualify for the Olympia. It wasn't to win the Olympia. So when the goal was, I already accomplished the goal. I was going to the Olympia anyway. You know,
Right.
so I was one of the 20 best bodybuilders in the world, and I was going.
Yeah.
So whether I had that piece or not, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But if the goal was to win the Olympia, I would have never had the piece of food. So, you know, set your goals as high as you can imagine, because if you set them there, you'll be able to achieve them.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like, I think what a lot of people who achieve goals at a high level, it's not like, you know, you open some random like secret one day, right? Like between how you were training and someone else, it probably, you know, anyone could, it's just the consistency and the discipline. Would you agree with that?
It's all about discipline. Yeah, because you'll feel like not doing things more than you feel like doing them.
Yeah.
And it's the ability not to worry about how you feel, but just to do what you need to do.
Right.
Which again goes back to my point, set the goals high enough, because, you know, if you set your goal to sell, you know, $3 million in houses this year, once you hit it, if you're in October, are you really going to push yourself that much harder those last 2 months of the year? You're not.
Right.
Right? You're going to relax, because that's human tendency. Whatever goal you set, if you're a go-getter, you're going to hit that goal and be like,
Yeah.
and you know, and I find it hard to reset after you've already hit the goal.
Yeah.
You know,
Same.
so set the goal as high as possible, you know, and try and knock it out the park, because even if you don't hit it, you did the work to exceed what you would have done had you not set the goals that high.
Yeah. That's like, actually, that's funny. Earl told me, he's like, yeah, I just figured I'd make a goal of being competing or something like that,
Yeah.
just so he knew he'd get in great shape along
Yeah.
the way,
Yep.
if that's what it was, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
But that was a long time ago. I think he needs to get more consistent.
Earl, we love you.
Yeah.
But, you know, Earl's issue with the gym is everything else comes first, you know, because, again, the gym's not a high priority right now.
Yeah.
He does it because he needs to do it, not because he's trying to hit anything within the gym,
Right.
you know? So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, 100%. I think, you know, for me, it was like, it was so crazy to realize in the beginning of this podcast, I said that I think, you know, meeting you and everything you've gotten, you've helped me with has really aligned my career in real estate. And I think, you know, I recommend anybody out there either figure out on your own how to do it or hire somebody that's amazing at it. You know, we'll share Fred's information with you after this, but it's aligned me so much better in business. Like my confidence, you know, there's nothing worse than like you said, you're looking in the mirror and you're not happy with how you look, you know?
Yep.
And knowing that you can do something about it, you're just deciding not to, and you're just going to deal with that. And your confidence, and you actually pointed that out to me. You're like, you know, how are you going to feel when you're sitting there in your best shape? And it's not even if I'm in better shape than the next guy. It's just if I'm feeling like, you know, great and confident with myself versus someone who comes in and, you know, they don't have that.
Well, you know, it's all about posture, right? Like, if you're sitting in front of someone and you have something like a really healthy, in shape physique, what it does is it automatically makes you lift your chest up and say, you know, I did this.
Right.
If I can do this with me, then anything you ask of me, I know I can accomplish, because I'm willing to put in the extra effort that most of the professionals aren't doing. Right? Because if I walk in a room, no matter who you are, you respect it.
Yeah.
You respect it. So if someone's going to automatically gain respect for you as a prospect for whatever business you're doing, right? Real estate, I'm going to buy a house. Person walks in and they say, this guy's in shape. All of a sudden, the barrier has come down because they want to ask you questions about, how do you look so great? What's going on? What are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
It automatically comes out because everybody talks about health. Everybody talks about it.
Yeah.
You're in a bar. People are going to ask you, what are you doing? You know, like, and what ends up happening is it's a great networking opportunity for you.
Right.
Yeah. Oh man, you know, nice meeting you. You know, like, When I'm in the market, I'm gonna use you, right?
And I think it's like if you could take a peek at someone's car. If their car is completely trashed, it's like, hey, if that's how they're taking care of that,
yeah,
how are they taking care of my files and my stuff? You know, I mean, and it shows like you have consistency, discipline, you know, all of that, and you know, I think it's great, and I think doing that for me, like I originally thought, man, I'm not going to be able to like follow this meal plan, go to the gym, this, that, and the other. Where actually now, if I don't do that, my day's 10 times more organized. I'm like, how did I figure out what I was eating on the fly 5 times a day? Now I'm just like, grab my container, eat it, and I don't even think about it. Like, I don't even have to stop what I'm doing.
Doesn't it make you appreciate food too better?
Right. Yeah.
Like when you do fall off,
yeah,
and you do like have some a meal with your family or something, it's like the food tastes so much better.
Yeah. It's like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah. It's like it gives you appreciation for flavor again, because not that the food you're eating on a daily basis isn't good, but you're not eating for enjoyment. You're eating for a purpose, right? And all of a sudden, it's like when you do take a break to eat for enjoyment, it's like, oh, wow, this is pretty good. It's pretty good, right? So, but then you're able to get back focused and get back on it, you know? So
yeah, 100%. Well, let's go through. I have a lot of questions here, and the questions are just meant to get us started, but, you know, we can use me for an example. You can pick on me. How do you think, you know, what were the steps that we took? Like, if you were to meet, when you met me, what was the first, you know, what did we do?
Well, we get your body fat, see what your BMR is, your basal metabolic rate, which is basically your resting metabolism. And then once we have that, we look at how much we do that by looking at how much actual body fat you're carrying. Then we create macros, which is the proteins, the carbs, and the fats to fit that BMR in order to create a deficit of your daily activity. So like you have your daily activity, you have your BMR. These are all the things that are creating calorie expenditure in the body. So we want to make sure that we are taking in a little less than what we're putting out, right? So that your body is forced to use the stored body fat that we have. And once that happens, then we say, okay, what's the plan that's going to also allow us to add some muscle tissue as well, right? Because when you're new at this, you can do a little of both. So we add some muscle tissue, and we want to create a workout plan, right? And the workout plan is going to be designed to do that. Also, through the workout plan, we want to not just make sure we're taking a deficit of calories in, we want to further that deficit by doing the extra calories through cardio, right? If you follow the menu and actually do well, you're disciplined and not actually adding calories in there, you really don't have to do a ton of cardio. You know, you get people that, January 1st is always synonymous with this. I'm going to go to the gym every day, 2 hours. But you haven't been in the gym all year, and now you're going to go to the gym 2 hours.
Yeah, right.
After 2 weeks of this, your body's going to be like burnout. Your mind's going to be burnout, and you're not going to want to do it anymore. And, you know, maybe if you're lucky, you get 2 months out of it. And because your body becomes so inflamed and so beat up, you're not even burning body fat at the same rate anymore. So that's where the discouragement comes in. Right. So that's why it's important to understand how to do it in a smart way so that you don't burn yourself out and you set yourself up for progressive improvement. Consistently getting better, adding work over time so that you're not overdoing it at any one time, any one moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know, do you make everyone, I'm sure you make everybody's workouts different. Like I know, I always tell you the workout you send me, I can't, it's too much time.
Right. So we came to a program where we just say, okay, we're going a bunch of warm-ups and then real sets, but only one real set.
Right.
And do that one real set. But the problem with doing that in the beginning, you can't really do that if you're not used to working out, right? Because you're not going to get an efficient stimulus to the muscle that's going to make a difference.
Okay.
Right? Meaning, not to get too sciencey on you. So basically, let's just take a chest press, for instance, right? If you haven't done chest presses in years and now you're getting back into working out, you're not going to be efficient at tapping into the muscles that work the chest. Nor logically, you're going to feel your arms, you're going to feel your shoulders. And if you don't have proper mechanics or know how to do it perfectly, you're not going to tap into those fibers efficiently. So it's going to take more work. So that's why we when you see workouts that say 3 and 4 sets, that's why.
Okay.
Because the anticipation is you need to learn how to recruit those muscles.
Okay.
Right? So the more volume, the more we exhaust the muscle overall.
Okay.
And now, when you get more efficient, like you have been, we didn't start going into this process, so you've been with me over 6 months.
Right.
Now that you've been working out 6 months, then we do a program where we say, okay, we can be in and out, because you know what? It's really that only one set to failure is really all we need to create a stimulus to put some muscle on.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I'm in and out. It's quick. It almost feels like it's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah, yeah. So as long as you're pushing that one set to really close to failure, or at least 1 or 2 reps away from failure.
Yeah.
And when I say failure, I mean not being able to complete a full rep, but still being able to move it under control, right? Then at that point, you're still creating a stimulus to say, this is mechanical tension, you must improve.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I love it. Do you have any other examples of, business professionals that you've worked with that have improved their business, just because of working out?
Matter of fact, one of my guys, he's a executive at Microsoft.
Oh,
and
cool.
He just gave a keynote speech yesterday. And he had been talking about doing it when I started with him. And he finally did it because we did a show. So this guy travels to South America because he runs the entire South American division of Microsoft. And so he travels there every other week.
Oh, cool.
And, he said to me, I don't know how I'm going to do this when I travel. And I said to him, if your why is big enough, the challenges will not matter. You will figure out a way. And he just did his show, 1 to 50 plus category, last weekend. And he actually started with me and was like, I don't like this, I don't like that. And we set the goal for the show because he wanted to do a show. And I said, listen, if you want to get up there and look fat, you'll keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to be 100% and do well, and he's a winner. He won the college level for football. He's won in his career.
Right.
Like you're going to go on stage and lose? That doesn't even make any sense.
Right.
And over food, and he got it together, man. The last 8 weeks of his prep, he was like absolutely perfect. And I'm like, if he can do it, anybody can do it, because he's traveling the world, different countries.
How do you do that? Like, what you do? Fly with the food?
You can fly with the food. Most places,
Okay.
Veggies are sometimes frowned upon when entering other countries, so they'll throw that away. But most of the time, you freeze everything before you go, put it in your check bag, not at your carry-on, and they don't give you a hard time most of the time. Yeah.
You're flying with like 6 pounds of chicken in your bag.
I mean, you free. What do you call that thing? Air savers, space
Yeah,
savers.
yeah.
Use one of those, and it takes up very little space.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
little
that's
space.
crazy because
So to say that, right, it sounds really inconvenient. And it is. But working the hours you have to work to be successful, is that convenient?
no.
Wouldn't it be a lot easier to go home and watch your favorite show at 8 o'clock every night? Right?
Yeah.
It's the same principles.
Right.
If you want to look better than the average person, you got to be willing to do more than the average person is willing to do.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's with anything. It's the same with real estate.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like everybody likes to have every weekend off, but when you're building your real estate business, that's not happening.
Right.
Not if you're successful, right? What's the best day for open houses?
Right. Sunday.
Sunday. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to work on a Sunday. It's what it takes to be great.
Yeah, you're right. 100%. You gotta. It's funny because it's like you said, no one's gonna notice that bite. Nobody's gonna even show up to my open house today, even if they do or don't. It's not that, and I think it's really like that comes back to the habit. It's just building. For me, it was building the habit, and then I finally said, look, if I'm gonna miss the gym, I'm still gonna go shower at the gym because that's part of my routine. Is I go there, do my workout, and then I shower, right, and leave. And I'm like, I'm still gonna do that because I'm still doing 90% of the habit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a waste of my time.
It's not, because what happens is I have a thing where I say never do 2 bad things in a row.
Right.
So if I miss cardio, I'm not going to miss the next cardio. If I miss my workout, I'm not going to miss the next workout. It's not an option. If I mess up on this meal, it doesn't mean I'm going to mess up on the next meal.
Right.
And if you can adopt that theory, here's what happens. How many times has a person messed up on their meal plan for the day? I'll just start tomorrow. Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's like,
yeah, that's like me. I just missed 2 days in a row.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like you have to commit to the habits, because the habits are going to keep you in the game when the situation's not ideal.
Right.
Right? Like, people get up and go to work all the time and don't want to. Right? Evidence is most heart attacks happen on Monday morning.
Yeah.
You know, your head says I'm going to work, your heart's like I don't want to go, right? So like most of the time, that's where it's like you have a habit. Why? Because I need my paycheck.
Right.
Right? If I don't go to work, I can't get my paycheck. That's why so many people stopped working when they started giving out all the money, right? Because it wasn't about the job. It wasn't about the habit. It was about, I just want the money.
Right.
You know, so what we're doing, we have to establish those habits because no one's making us do anything.
Yeah.
We have to make ourselves. Like, how many people have start a business and all of a sudden they go to business just because they didn't just put enough time into it. Mm-hmm. Same thing with your body.
Yeah. And that, I think it's the type of person that's like, I'm going to do stuff even when it's uncomfortable. That, I mean, I know when I'm interviewing agents, if there's someone who's been down that road of being like a college athlete, or they're still in the gym and working out and doing that, they're usually pretty good with real estate. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot that aren't. But
there's exceptions to anything, right?
Yeah. But it's just the consistency and the discipline, and, you know, it's so, I feel like it's so quiet. That's the thing. It's like, you know, you got to do it anyway.
Yeah, I tell my kids, my son was like, Dad, why are you tripping? I got honor roll for the year.
Right.
I said, it's not about honor roll. It's about the fact that you got a C in the last marking period because you didn't try.
Right.
You didn't try. Like, all year you get A's, you get a C in the last marking period. That's because you already knew you had honor roll locked up for the year. How you do anything is going to how you do everything.
Yeah.
And I need you to always give 100% effort.
Yeah, that's awesome. So my next questions, is funny, we're on this topic, were, do you know how to help your clients? How do you help your clients stay consistent? Like the people who are busy professionals and always on the move, stuff like that. I mean, I know I complained.
There's a couple things, you know, like, you know, the most challenging part from my position is it's very easy when you're working with a collective few. You know, I've tried to say, okay, maybe I want to set up a time where all my clients that are in this type of situation, we do a Zoom call or we do like a group me or something. So that's been in my brain to do that. The problem is, the busier you get, the harder it gets to do those things, right? But so right now, you know, when a client's really struggling, I might say to them, send me a picture of every meal you did this week.
Oh, wow.
Just send me a picture of every meal you do. And even if I don't see it till the end of the night, I'll make sure I go in there and thumbs up the ones I liked, right? Just so they know I'm paying attention. You know, when I have someone that I know is super serious and they're going to do it, I'll say, you know, like, you missed your appointment. I'm like, send me your pictures tomorrow. I looked at them this morning. I'm like, okay, could be better, but we're not a whole lot worse, right? So let's get back on a horse, right?
Right.
Let's go back and do that. Those type of things, just the accountability factor, you know, like,
Yeah.
I already know. That's why I have everybody send me pictures every week.
Yeah.
Because if you're not sending them every week, you're not doing everything. Because when you're doing everything 100%, it's like you can't wait to send the pictures.
Yeah.
You're like, because if there's not an improvement, you're pissed off and you're gonna let me know about it. If there is an improvement, you're excited about the improvement. You want to
share it. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, the pictures, accountability, the food, sending the food and pictures, and then, you know, that's why I haven't gone completely to online, is because I like the interaction, because it's a difference when you have to send an email. It's like, yeah, I messed up, but you have to sit in front of me. It's a different feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sucks coming in and doing that, and then half the time your scale's broken and stuff. I'm just kidding.
I really don't know where to. Yeah, doesn't match that home scale that was 3 pounds lighter. I know.
All right, so a couple other things I was talking. Do you have any hacks for people? Like, it was weird for me. Once I met you, I actually started eating like twice as much food. Mm-hmm. Like, I couldn't even eat it all. I remember in the morning you had me eating like 10 eggs, a whole thing of oats, a sandwich. I don't know what. No, it wasn't a sandwich, but it was a lot of food, and I'm like, I can't eat it all.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Well, most,
So
and the reason why is because you can't ask your body to improve performance and increase the metabolism when you're not giving it any fuel.
okay.
Right. So it'd be like, you having this awesome sports car and giving it very little fuel. It's not going to work. So if we can get your metabolism elevated to a point where it's running optimally and you're burning as many calories as you can at rest, then as I start to decrease those calories, you're still going to end up at a consistent level of caloric intake that's still higher than when you started. And theoretically, you should not feel like you're starving. Now, the catch-22 on that is once you get going and we get that metabolism elevated, now you need more food to satisfy that hunger, which is fine as long as you stick with the exercising and the training, because when you drop it off, it takes a while for your body to adjust and your your appetite doesn't drop off that quickly.
Yeah.
So that's where people run, like, oh man, I did this program, I lost all this weight, and then all I did was relax a little bit and I gained some weight. It's because you're eating more now. You're able to consume more calories, yet you're not working out at the same level.
Okay.
Right. So, but the goal, number one, is any of the programs. How do we get your resting metabolism faster at the end than it was at the beginning? And if that happens, you're going to stay lean.
Yeah. That's all you need. And then, so do you have any hacks for people who are always on the move? Like, I remember I was working 80 hours a week and I was never home, and I was always trying to pick from like Wawa, McDonald's, something I can get food in the next 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What I used to do when I went to McDonald's all the time was I do get a burger, no bun, and 2 grilled chicken breast sandwiches, no bun, and a side salad. Cut it up and put it all in there and get a fat-free dressing.
Yeah.
I got some fat, I got some high protein, and that way, if I didn't have an ability to measure anything, not a big deal because I'm not doing carbs anyway.
Yeah.
And it's hard for your body to overstore on protein.
So if you're in a pinch, just eat as much protein as you can, and
Yeah. I mean, like, there's anywhere you go, you're going to be able to find chicken. I mean, even in, you're always going to be able to find those RTD protein drinks. You can always find, like, almost every place has, like, the boiled eggs.
Yeah.
Right? So you peel them, and, every one yolk to all 3 whites, is typically a good ratio. And, when people travel, that's a great way to keep your weight in check and not feel terrible while you're away because you're eating too much junk, is just to stay with mostly protein, fruits, and vegetables while you're...
Yeah, that's what I've been doing whenever I go.
Yeah, and it's kept you within range. It's not like you bloom back up over 240 or anything like that. You're staying in that 5-pound range.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, next question. This is a good one. What do you say? I talked to, I was talking to another guy. He works here, and he was saying he wants to follow like a meal plan or something like that. It's just his partner is completely off the plan. So
right. So when you
ever
say
deal with
partner,
someone
you
like
mean
that, like his
person?
wife?
Okay, got it. Yeah, I mean, that's important, man. It's really important, but I don't think it becomes a problem unless you expect them to support you in a way where they have to do it too.
Yeah.
Like, here's what I normally get. My significant other gets mad with me because we used to go out every Friday night, now we don't anymore, right? So I always say, well, why don't you go out? Oh, I can't stick to my diet. Well, if you go out and you stuck to the plan all week, all day, and this is the one thing that your significant other wants to do, and they mean that much to you, go out. When I was at the height of my professional career, I go out to eat with my family, and I would just either bring my meals, and if it was a place where I couldn't get away with bringing the meals, I'd order the same thing. I'd be very specific. Let me get a salad, cucumber, lettuce, green pepper, right? That's it.
That's what you told me to stop looking at the menu.
Don't look. They spend millions of dollars to figure out how to entice you to order what they want you to order, right? The most luxurious, the most decadent thing on the menu they want you to have, which is always the most fattiest, right? And typically the fattiest things on the menus, lower cost for them to produce. Don't look at the menu. Every place you go that's halfway decent will have a protein, some type of carb, and a good vegetable. If they don't have a good vegetable, almost everyone has lettuce. Just ask for a bowl of lettuce and a little bit of either cucumber or tomato, and put a little red wine vinegar on it. You're golden. You're golden. So, and once you eat the first bite, you'll be fine. It's all the anticipation. It's all the way we've been conditioned to go in a restaurant and got to get appetizer, got to get, and it's like, if you go to a nice restaurant, man, they'll hook it up. Like they'll do a nice grilled chicken breast, and if you tell them no seasoning, they'll bring you salt and pepper, a little lemon. It's like you can really get away. And if you're not competitive, it's not going to hurt your plan if you go out and order what you're supposed to order.
Yeah. I've been going out to eat, and in the beginning it was hard because I was almost embarrassed to ask for it in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I'm like, hey, I need a steak without any butter oil and a vegetable without any butter oil.
Yeah. And most people will just gain respect for you on the spot.
Yeah.
Because most people aren't doing that.
Yeah. And then I look like an idiot when I order like
a drink.
Yeah, drink, and it was the whole thing or something.
Just mess up the whole process.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. I need a drink though.
So if it comes down to, are you going to drink or are you going to eat bad food? I'd almost rather you eat the bad food.
Yeah.
Because the drinking, without question, will put body fat on you.
What was it you were explaining to me? Your body treats it as poison?
Yeah, your body's trying to do everything it can to get rid of the alcohol at all costs. So if I have, as everyone says, it was clear, there was no sugar in it. Well, alcohol is a type of sugar. So it will break down at 7 calories per gram. So it really doesn't matter how much carbs it says is in there. It has alcohol, 7 calories per gram. So if we take in a glass or a shot, your body has to figure out what to do with those calories before it can burn anything else. And your body doesn't know what to do with those calories. So it's like chasing its tail, trying to figure out how to get rid of it. In that time frame, whatever else you've taken in is being stored as fat, adipose tissue. And you can't beat that. That's why, if you drink without eating, you feel worse, right? But if you eat, you don't feel so bad. But part of that reason is because your body stored all that food, right? You don't get quite as dehydrated. You don't get quite as depleted. Alcohol depletes you.
So some people have told me that tequila doesn't like tequila. If you drink tequila, it's fine. That's not true.
I mean, if you just go by the basic principle, 7 calories per gram, and your body's not efficient at processing it. Doesn't matter what alcohol you're doing.
Okay.
Certainly it's worse when you add juices to it.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Right. All right, we went through our tips on staying healthy through vacation, how busy professionals maintain their fitness routines.
When it comes to staying healthy on vacation, another good way to do it is protein bars. But if you're going to do that, just make sure you're doing a protein bar that is no more than 1 gram of sugar per 2 grams of protein. So if you have a 20-gram protein bar with 10 grams of sugar, I'm cool with that. But you don't want to have a bar that's like 20 grams of sugar, 20 grams of protein. No good. It's just candy with protein.
Okay.
Or even 40 grams of carbs, 20 grams of protein. No bueno. Not good.
You need 20 protein, 10.
20 protein, no. I mean, 40 grams of carbs and 20 grams of protein. No good.
Right.
No good.
Okay.
You don't want the sugar content higher than their protein.
Okay. All right. When you meet with people, do you have any advice on helping them find their why? What advice would you give someone in their first steps towards, a healthy lifestyle?
That's a great one. Well, let's go with the why. If you're specifically talking about, you have to figure out, why do you want to get in shape? Like,
I guess it's different for everybody. Yeah. I mean,
it's so different for everybody, but I mean, like, finding that why is very important, because a lot of people will do this. I want to look good. The problem with I want to look good is it's infinite. You don't have a time frame to that. And what's what's looking good. What looks good one person is not going to look good to the next. So try and set yourself with, set up a vision board of some physiques that mimic what you want to see in yours. Set up some reward systems for yourself. What you're going to allow yourself if you achieve this physique. Something to shoot for. And then try and set some dates of when you want to hit it by. And those things will allow you to kind of get your mind frame right so that the why becomes stronger. Right.
And when you're making those timelines, like I know when you told me, I think you said 18 weeks for me. And I was like, Fred, you're crazy. I want to lose 10 pounds this week. And you're like,
well, okay. So we definitely want to focus on the improvement throughout. So you want to learn to enjoy and be happy, but don't get satisfied until you've hit the eventual goal.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing that kind of helps is do it with a friend.
Right.
Everyone has a little bit of competitiveness in them. Do it with a friend. If your friend is doing well, you want to do well too. No one wants to see somebody just passing them by.
Yeah.
Right. We all put pants on. We all breathe the same air. So if that person can do it, why not you?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I'll be vulnerable. When I met you, I didn't realize it was even like possible for me to be in great shape like that,
Right.
Which I'm still not at my goal, but it's more about the journey and all of that.
Well, I think you're not at your goal for one reason. You hit a goal
right
too quickly.
Yeah.
Like as soon as we started, you were like out the gate, bam, I'm on this.
Yeah.
And within 3 weeks, you were like, within 3 weeks, you're pulling down your pants without even without unbuttoning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you hit something that fast, it's hard not to kind of just be like, oh, well, because you haven't reset a new goal.
Right, because people tell you look good, blah, blah, blah. You're like, whatever, I got this in the bag.
I think you were like, you want some abs. But your reason why you wanted the abs was because you wanted people to respect how you looked.
Right.
Well, you started getting that already. And regardless of whether you have abs or not, you're already getting that.
Right.
The validation's already there. So you have to redefine the goals. And then you're going to see yourself take off again.
The other thing you share with me is you can't really lose more than 2 pounds a week, or what was it?
Yeah, I mean, unless you're morbidly obese, science kind of tells us that 2 pounds a week is about right in terms of body fat, because in order to lose a pound of body fat, you have to create a deficit of like 3,500 calories. Okay. So that's hard to do. It's really hard to do. This is why, when you eat off the caloric recommendations, it's hard to get back on track during that week because you're trying to create 3,500 calories a week in order to lose that pound of fat. How do I create 500 calorie deficit every single day? A hard workout in the gym, you might still not burn 500 calories,
Yeah.
And then now you got to sacrifice it in the calories you're taking in. So when you eat off plan, you disrupt the entire balance.
Yeah, right. And again, I was telling you, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds in this week, and you were like, it's not even good. And that's like you said, everybody wants to do that January 1st. It's like, I'm going to go work out 3 hours a day. Yeah. It's just not even going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the 10 pounds is great, and it can be done in a few days, but it's impossible to maintain.
Right. You're like, great, what do we do once we get that 10 off?
You're just running the rat race.
You can't lose 10 next week, too,
Exactly.
so you might as well. Right.
You're just running the rat race. So,
yeah.
But I mean, it's like anybody does a water fast. It does a lot of amazing things for your body. But as soon as you're done and start eating and drinking again, you gain weight right back. Right? So, you know, from that perspective, it's not doing anything.
I think that's as far as I want to go with the workouts and stuff like that. The other cool thing I really liked is, like, as I was watching, like, every week I go into Fred's office and I'm watching you, and you're kind of leading your team. People are coming in, clients are coming and going, and stuff like that. And it's almost the exact same thing as a real estate team, because you have you, and then you have your trainers, which I guess are kind of like our agents, I just want to ask you a couple questions about that. Like, number one, a lot of people listening may have trouble delegating stuff like that off. And did you ever have a time where you felt like, man, this is my baby, I want to work with every single client, I want to be hands-on with everybody here?
I fight that urge all the time.
Okay.
I fight that urge all the time. But we're in DSI now. But last year, our organization was even not more profitable, but it was bigger. Okay. And the reason why is because I had a bunch of experienced trainers who had their own clientele under my umbrella. Mm-hmm. So they were getting higher percentages because they brought the clients to the company.
Yeah.
And for years, I ran it that way. And we did really well. The problem is when they feel they're better than you or bigger than you. So a couple things that I really recommend is never, ever let the meetings not happen. every meeting that you schedule has got to happen. Your team's got to feel like you're leading at all times. Even
Your
when-
meetings with the teammates?
Yes.
Okay.
Every time I've talked to anybody that has a successful business, good meetings that are insightful, they're learning, not bash session, positive meetings, and you have to stay ahead of your team, right? Like you have to be the smartest guy in the room and bring something to the table that they feel like they can learn from you in some way. Because when that stops happening, that's when you have like the guy in the corner going, I can do this. And then that person, you got to get him out of your organization or incentivize him big time to make him stay, because if he starts doing that, then he's going to spread that to other people on your team. Your team has to have a reverence for you, like, I'm here because he gives me the best opportunity to be successful.
And it kind of forces you to get better too, right?
Absolutely. And that's why I try and keep all my meetings, because it forces me to learn and continue to advance my knowledge. Because when you have sharp guys on your team, to stay ahead of that,
Right, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And now I'm running an organization. Now I've got the 3 businesses, like you have multiple business. How do you stay ahead of that guy that's just got one focus? Right?
Yeah.
One focus. He's going home and only studying one subject, and you're trying to keep up on everything. And for the first couple years, it's easy because you have all the experience.
Right.
But when he starts getting some experience and starts researching other things, he asks you that question you don't know the answer to, you better come back the next day with the answer. Right?
Yeah.
Because they got to feel like they can depend and lead and follow your lead on everything.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, and that's the way. Someone messes with them. It's funny because someone said something wrong to any of my trainers in the gym, and they run to me like I'm dad.
Right.
And I'm out there and I handle it, you know? And it sounds like you're babysitting, but when you're managing people, that a little bit of it is babysitting, right?
Right.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
Because if they were as a go-getter as you, if they were as driven as you, and you didn't have to kind of stay on them and keep them going, then they'd be your rival,
Yeah.
right? So
I think you're really good at when someone's not doing what they're supposed to do. Like when I come in and I'm like, "Hey, Fred, to be honest, like I've been off all last week, all my meals, everything." I always leave more motivated. You know, I don't know how you spin that, but
yeah, well,
I'm like, he's gonna rip me a new one, but you don't. You're like, you figure out the issue, we kind of work through it and get over it. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I've done both ways of thinking. So in 2018, I tore my pec, and it allowed me to get insight to how normal, non-athletic people live.
Right.
So a person not getting ready for a show, a person who's not getting ready to compete, like how do they live? Because all of a sudden, I understood what somebody meant when they would go out to eat and have a beer. Because I would never do that. I've never done that.
I got you. Yeah.
I didn't even understand that line of thinking. I understood what it meant to be like, yeah, I just had a random cheat meal on a Saturday morning.
Right.
Right. Because from 2006 to 2018, all I knew was getting ready for something.
Right.
Whether it was a guest posing, a photo shoot, or an actual competition, or I was working towards whatever, I was always on the bus going somewhere.
Right.
Right. In terms of the nutrition plan. And so I didn't even understand what it was to deviate. The only time I ever deviated was I either had Christmas or Thanksgiving, never both.
Oh, you'd only do one or the other?
Well, I'd always celebrate,
Yeah.
but if I did Christmas, it's because I wasn't getting ready for an early spring show. If I did Thanksgiving, it's because I was getting ready for the Arnold, so I knew I couldn't, which was early March, so I knew that was my last time to do anything. Yeah.
So you wouldn't even mess up another meal for months.
No. If it wasn't on, 4 or 5 months, 6 months. One time I was on a diet for 8 months straight.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, and the only time I had like anything off the diet is when my coach said, okay, you need a refeed, you're a little depleted, go ahead and have it. My mindset was, when I'm done this, the food will still be there.
Yeah.
The food will still be there. So.
And you taught me too to keep like, all right, are you eating because you're like, are you emotionally eating, or what do you say, or are you like, do you actually need the food for fuel? Right. And that was a cool distinction.
Right, because there's real hunger and there's hormonal hunger.
Right.
The hormonal hunger is, I'm out with my friends, it's this time of day.
Right, there's a bowl of chips sitting there or whatever.
I'm used to, when I watch football, I'm used to getting wings. When I watch football, I'm used to getting this. You know, my hormonal hunger came in the fact that I always would cheat on Sundays. So for years, it took, they say when you're an adult, the only thing that changes you is pain. some sort of pain. So it took me getting my butt kicked at the Olympia in 2012 and in front of millions that were watching the Olympia either streaming or in person. I looked subpar, you know, and I got my butt kicked. I was in the last call out. I'd never been in the last call out. But it was because up until that point, I always kept cheat meals in on Sunday and only completely cut them out at like a month out. So when you do that, you're not able to, your coaches, and I would never tell my coach. So what ended up happening is he was always getting a false sense of where I really was. So he's either over pushing the diet or under pushing it, depending on when I checked in. When I got rid of that, then my career improved dramatically.
Right.
You know.
That's awesome.
But where you were going with that is, so how do I motivate people? Because now I have empathy for real situations.
Okay. Yeah.
For real life situations. I understand why it might have been a Thursday night with your family and everybody wanted to get pizza and you gave in to that. I understand that. So if I can understand it, I can tell you how to coach you through it. Before wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think you do a great job with that with your team. Now, what do you see as, I mean, there's a bunch of obvious reasons for me why like a new trainer would come work for you, I guess. You know, just like there's a lot of reasons a new agent would come work for me. But what do you, like, what's your pitch to them? You're going to...
When I'm recruiting now, man, like, I don't really recruit trainers, man. Like, and I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you why. Because my best trainers are trainers that train with me first.
No, I got you.
People that were clients of mine or came and got a program from me. Like one of my best guys, Ethan, he saw me in the bowling alley and he wanted to be a bodybuilder. So I trained him for a bodybuilding show. And then he said, I think I want to try the training thing. Told him what to do. Now he's one of my best trainers. But he already understood my style.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's something to my style because I literally have clients that have been with me since 1997. And a lot of the books that are out there about how to be a successful trainer, they wish they were doing the numbers we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, like I heard this podcast where the guy was like, you know, hard part about being a trainer is you have like, if you have 8 people in a day, you got 4 in the morning and 4 at night, so you never have a consistent schedule. And I'm thinking, okay, well, my schedule is literally
just jam-packed. I've seen it.
All the time.
Yeah.
It never breaks. The only break is in there is because I create the break for myself. But I literally could be booked 15 hours every day and still got to go home and do online programs. The beautiful part about what guys learn under me is you're not going to be able to go to another trainer and get that level of intensity, yet not push people over the edge so they get hurt. No one's getting hurt.
Yeah.
We're pushing you to levels and you're doing things because
I almost fainted the one day, but
you didn't get hurt. You know,
yeah,
and you walked out of the gym under your own.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we were good,
and you're fine, right? Like,
yeah,
like, and nobody told you not to eat enough before you came. That was on you.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you weren't sore for 2 weeks either. Like you were sore for a few days, and then you're back at it.
Yeah.
We push to a level that puts you right on that edge. And if your trainer has never done it himself or herself, have never pushed themselves to that level, then they're not gonna push you to that level.
Right.
And the thing is, every male wants to gain muscle, unless they're getting ready for an endurance event or something like that. Everybody wants to gain muscle.
Yeah.
Every woman wants to be stronger. I haven't met a woman yet in my 25 years of doing this that does not want to be stronger. Well, how can you get stronger if you're deadlifting 20 pounds? Right?
Yeah.
But you go into some of the gyms and that's what they're doing. The big 10-pound bumpers, right? And there might be deadlifting 65 pounds.
Yeah.
If you're at the airport and your suitcase weighs 65 pounds,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, like I'm trying to build you so that when you walk around, you feel good, empowered, dominant, and strong in every situation.
Yeah. I love it. And it's, I mean, just working out and staying consistent with my food, it's completely changed pretty much everything I do in life, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. I love it. If people want to reach out to you, what do you recommend?
My website's abphysiques.fit, and we obviously have the Instagram at abphysiques.
Okay.
And Facebook at abphysiques as well.
And it's quick and easy. You have the online stuff, and you've got Newark, Delaware, right?
Yeah, Newark, Delaware is our home office. Yeah, and we also have the app, the Body by Biggie app, but all that's on those links. So
cool.
abphysiques.fit or on Instagram at abphysiques, and yeah, we'll definitely serve you and be there to help you.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, if you thought anything here today was useful, please forward it to a friend, like, comment, do anything you can to help us so we can keep getting great guests like Fred. And I appreciate it. We will talk to you soon.